Albert Einstein said, "I never made one of my discoveries through the process of rational thinking." The next logical question is, what method did Einstein use to make his discoveries? In honor of Albert Einstein, I greet you with shalom. That means hello, goodbye, and peace. To those of you joining us for Project Eli, where we educate, lead, and inspire, I say hello. To those of you looking to be entertained and are not serious about learning, I say peace. And to those of you with the average attention span, according to Microsoft, of only 8 seconds, I say goodbye. Eli's dad here, and I invite you to eavesdrop as I mentor my son Eli about the thought process employed by Albert Einstein. Eli, if Einstein never made discoveries through the process of rational thinking, what exactly was his process? Let's begin our discovery with his words. It is and I quote, "It is the theory that decides what can be observed. Common sense is the collection of prejudices acquired by age 18. So what does that mean? It means that you can only see things based upon the lens through which you observe. Now, when you go to a 3D movie, what do you see before you put on the special glasses? Einstein is telling us that what mainstream mankind perceives as quote-unquote logical thinking is limited by the paradigms of the theories that they accept. So how do we change the prescription on our glasses to enable us to see more? Einstein tells us, and I quote, "Information is not knowledge. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. It is, strictly speaking, a real factor in scientific research." Now, Eli, what Einstein is telling us is that discovery is based upon the conscious effort of man to imagine more than currently exists. To take time every day to let your mind wander to what might be. To not limit your thinking to what currently is. Does not the suitor of a potential spouse envision ways and means to attract the object of their affection? Is the imagination of a lifetime of marital bliss not the catalyst for the suitor? Does a scientist not envision the end result of an experiment imaginatively, as Edison did with the 10,000 failed experiments that he tried before creating the light bulb? Didn't Dr. Martin Luther King imagine little black boys and girls holding hands with little white boys and girls? So, my son, that imagining is the what that needs to be done. What is the how? Einstein answers, the most powerful force in the universe is compound interest. You have to learn the rules of the game, and then you have to play better than anyone else. There are only 2 ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle, and the other is as though everything is a miracle. And no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. Now, these 4 quotes give us the answer of how to think. When the typical person thinks of the term compound interest, they're usually referring to accumulating money. Einstein, as we have discovered, saw things through a different lens than the mainstream. Compound interest to him was a single focus, a definiteness of purpose, creating an interest in a vision so compelling that it compounded itself in his mind over and over and over again until it became a magnificent obsession. Now, what were the rules of the game that he played so well to create solutions to his problems, to his unsolved opportunities? Well, first, it was to envision the end result alone. Oh, he would try logical thought to initially solve his issues and achieve his objective, but when that failed, he would rely on the rules of the game for creative thought. With the emotion of feeling his objective completed, he would ask his subconscious mind to favor him with clues. He knew that if he asked long enough and passionately enough, that the universe would somehow, some way, provide him with a direction to follow or an idea, or at the very least, provide a missing puzzle piece to be stored away for future use. He would solve problems through the miracle of receiving input from a higher source. He would leave the solution runway clear by not suggesting possible solutions to his subconscious mind. He wanted to give all possible paradigms a chance to land on the runway of creativity. Why? Because he knew that no problem can be solved from the same level of consciousness that created it. From his control tower, his conscious mind, Einstein would clear all the runways from his existing perceptions and ask his subconscious mind to guide his flight through the fog of uncertainty and, as if guided by radar, land on the tarmac with a solution. Einstein sought and received inspiration from a higher source, the infinite mind. How did he do it? He executed one of nature's laws consistently that the mainstream virtually ignores completely. Remember, Eli, that a universal law works whether it is being performed consciously or not. That, like gravity, the law works consistently and without prejudice. Now, here are some quotes from the genius that explained his mindset. The true sign of intelligence is not knowledge, but imagination. A new type of thinking is essential if mankind is to survive and move toward higher levels. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Now, although I work a regular work schedule, I take time to go for long walks on the beach so that I can listen to what's going on inside my head. And if my work isn't going well, I lie down in the middle of a workday and gaze at the ceiling while I listen and visualize what goes on in my imagination. The gift of fantasy has meant more to me than my talent for absorbing positive knowledge. Only one who devotes himself to a cause with his whole strength and soul can be a true master. For this reason, mastery demands all of a person. Unquote. Now, it's imperative that to maximize the brain, there must be time allotted daily for quiet thinking time. This concentrated, laser-focused thought ignites the quote-unquote sixth sense. That is the term that Napoleon Hill used to describe the partnership of man with the infinite mind. This sixth sense inspires imaginative ideas to be planted. Einstein perceived this method as a cosmic religious bonding of the infinite mind and man. Here are his words on the subject. Quote, "Everyone who is seriously involved in the pursuit of science becomes convinced that some spirit is manifest in the laws of the universe, one that is vastly superior to that of man. In this way, the pursuit of science leads to a religious feeling of a special sort, which is surely quite different from the religiosity of someone more naive. I assert that the, quote, cosmic religious experience, unquote, is the strongest and the noblest driving force behind scientific research. Innovation is not the product of logical thought, although the result is tied to logical structure. You see, thinking is hard work. That's why so few do it, unquote. Now here's a quote from Mayo Ocean, who knew Einstein well. From his youth, Einstein had a habit of spending a lot of time away from his friends, family, and work to do nothing but think. He would regularly go for long walks, wander off to quiet cabins in the mountains, play his violin, or sail the seas with his wooden boat to find serenity, unquote. Einstein recognized intuitive thought as messages to be received from the higher power. He tells us, when the solution is simple, God is answering. God always takes the simplest way. I believe in intuition and inspiration. At times, I feel certain I am right while not knowing the reason. The only real valuable thing is intuition, unquote. The most valuable asset that a man may possess in the knowledge of how to think productively and the most valuable asset that a man may possess is the knowledge of how to think productively and maximize the universe's greatest gift, the brain. Our next session will highlight some thoughts about life from this Einstein of Einsteins. I look forward to your comments, questions, and feedback. Please share our channel with appropriate people. Of course, our thought for the day is from the great man himself. Quote, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous, unquote. And because we never end a meeting on a philosophical note, get out there and charge. I'm Eli's dad.